a nail biter in Kansas City and a bloodbath in Philly. We got our Super Bowl matchups. So, what do you guys think? I know nobody wants the three-peat to happen because, I mean, that's not good for the NFL. That's not good for the viewership and all that. But it's kind of hard to escape the inevitable.
I think, in a sense, you can't. It's a good thing too for the NFL because I don't think we ever seen it before. So history would be made. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's not what every NFL fan, not every NFL fan, but majority of NFL fans want because at a certain point, when it becomes stale, when it becomes boring, when it becomes like, oh my God, they're going to win again, and then suddenly your biggest, the biggest supporter becomes your biggest haters. Should ask the Golden State Warriors. Should Golden State probably the most hated franchise for the last.
Yeah. That's New England.
Oh, New England. Jeez. What? Man, but this game, as bad as I want to go for my boy Nice, man, and go for the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's who my heart wants, this time I go with my head. I think Kansas City gonna go for the three-peat, man. I got a 38-35 Super Bowl.
But the same score?
Yeah.
Damn.
Because at the end of the day, man, they got Patrick Mahomes and nobody else doesn't. It's unfortunate because I feel like the Eagles, their way to win that game is Jalen Hurts they would have to be able to establish that run game and utilize that time of possession. I just don't know. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do it. I mean, the Chiefs, Spagnuolo is probably one of the best defensive coordinators in history. And to sit there and say that they're not preparing every which way for Saquon Barkley to touch the ball minimal 20 times a game, they're going to try to neutralize him, which is forcing Jalen Hurts to have to win the game. And quite frankly, I don't think he can do it. I mean, obviously he had a good game last week against the Commanders, but, I mean, for what it's worth, that's a bottom five defense. So everybody was cooking them. Shoot, every game that Washington was in, it was really just because Jaden Daniels was just that much better. Their offense was just that much better. But defensively, you couldn't count on them for stops. But Kansas City got Mahomes and Kelsey. They got the script. They got
for sure.
They got the zebras out there. I mean, it's only so much you can do. It's been very crucial calls that haven't been called in the previous two games. So to sit there and say that we're not expecting anything different from the Super Bowl, you would be a fool and you'll be extremely naive to not think that Mahomes is going to be protected and pampered and getting these outlandish calls that we're not expecting. So I'm already going into the game with all my expectations put on the table. It's going to be BS that happens.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, we know who's going to win it, and we already know the NFL wants to do the three-peat. And realistically, Kelsey, I'm not surprised that he'll ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the end of his tenure. He's kind of showing that he don't really too much care about this as his primary concern. But like you said, like if we're going with our head, for sure we got to go Kansas City. But I mean, wouldn't it just be nice to just see
somebody different?
Man. Charles, what do you think?
Do y'all believe in miracles?
I hope I do. I think so.
He just said you up, man.
No, I'm not. I'm being genuine when I say this. It seems like I'm going hard over head, and I'm not gonna lie, that might be the case. But I saw something from Philly against Washington that I think that they can really expose the Chiefs with, man. The Chiefs are all world. They got great talent on all faces of the ball. Offense is good because they got the best quarterback in the league. The defense is great because they got the best D coordinator probably in the last however many years. They got a special talent in Chris Jones. The linebacking core is exceptional. Karlaftis and Bolton are otherworldly. Trent McDuffie. I mean, they got guys. They got talent. Travis Kelce's an old man that still knows how to get open in the most critical situations. And if he doesn't work, I mean, shoot, you just found out you got a nuclear weapon in Xavier Worthy who can take over a game. And if that doesn't work, hell, you got D-Hop. So, like, And you got the best coach in the NFL, so all the cards point towards Kansas City. But man, for the Eagles to win this game, it's got to be a time of possession battle. They have to win it. Kansas City is like that when it comes to controlling the clock. But Philadelphia, because I feel like they're constructed to where they get a lead and their defense is so elite on all phases that they can suffocate opponents. Like, Jalen Hurts didn't have to be great against the Rams. He didn't have to be great against the Packers. Their defense was elite for majority of those games. And their biggest laps of the postseason thus far, they ended up winning that game by over 30 points with a 50-point McNug. Saquon Barkley has to be elite, but more so than usual. I think the O-line, we all look at the offensive line and think of like, hey, we got these guys, doing their thing in the pass blocking game, but that running game is humongous because battles are won and lost on a daily basis in the trenches. And if you don't got your front seven handling up against that O-line, the pin and pulls, the traps, the stretches, all the zone reads, all that type of stuff, hey, you're going to be in for a rude awakening because they will ground and pound you to death. And I think Philadelphia can do that.
So what is your game predictions? Game score predictions. I need official pen to paper score right now. Versea, you on the spot.
I think 30-27. I think Philadelphia is capable of making necessary stops. And I'm not just saying that off of blind faith. I'm saying that because who has realistically been able, outside of Washington, to light up Philly, especially in recent weeks? I mean, like, for what it's worth, they only lost one game in like almost 3 months. And that's gone under the radar. The Chiefs have only lost one game worth of importance, which was the Bills. But even with that being said, like, we talk about that for what it's worth more than Philadelphia, and they've quietly been on a heater. Like, their offense, I feel like, will be clicking. I don't think Jalen Hurts is an elite passer, but we've seen what he was capable of doing in the Super Bowl the first time around. Who's to say he doesn't have an encore? A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they all played big moments. The running game, while they don't have guys like Jason Kelsey and Jason Peters on the O-line, they definitely have a more than capable enough team to, at the very least, contain the likes of Karl Loftus, Chris Jones, Nick Bolton, anybody that they send on the blitz. And it's a tall task and a tall mountain to climb, but I thought that Detroit was going to be able to do it. I mean, I was looking at the right conference, but the wrong team. Maybe it's them boys that do nothing but fly.
But, like, at the end of the day, I think we got to realize, like, you're obviously I'm praying that his prediction is right, but Mahomes done slayed all these dragons in the past. He done slayed number one defenses. He done slayed the likes, the baddest things walking on the planet, from that Philly defense that he played to the San Francisco defense that he played. I mean, time and time again, Mahomes goes to show it doesn't matter what you have, what the opposition has. As long as he's on the field with a chance to win, tie it, with the game in his hands, you're never safe.
But I think, like, that's true. He definitely has slayed more dragons than he has been slain, but he has been slain too now. I mean, the recipe
Who slayed him?
The Bucks with Tom Brady.
No. I'm asking who slayed him. Give me the two quarterbacks that slayed him.
I understand.
No.
I understand. It's Tom Brady.
Big Jazz. No. You're on the hook.
Okay, let me get my response.
I need you to answer. Who are the two quarterbacks that dethroned Patrick Mahomes? We're waiting.
TB12 and number 9.
Okay.
I get it, but here's the thing. What did those teams have in common? An excellent defense. I understand.
Okay, hell no.
You don't think that Tampa Bay had an excellent defense?
No, I'm not saying Tampa Bay, but Cincinnati?
I know we get on Eli Apple a lot, but I mean, come on. They had Trey Hendrickson. They had Sam Hubbard. I mean, they had these, what was his name? I forgot, what is it, Von Bell. They had great safety play as well. Like, they were talented for what it's worth, and I think it's a mistake that they even let go of
Luke. But you said great. You said great defense. That was a good defense. Let's not say, but they were down. They were down big before halftime. That one stop,
what happened after halftime?
Mahomes started messing up.
And you don't credit that for what the defense?
No, I'm not saying that the defense didn't do anything, but I mean, we can go back and look. Mahomes was playing like. Do you remember the pick he threw in overtime, we looking like you literally did not have to. He threw a Hail Mary down the field
to Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I give a whole lot of credit to a team that bent and didn't break. I mean, giving up 21 points in the first half against Mahomes for a lot of teams is a death wish.
Yep.
But holding them to no touchdowns, second half all the way through overtime, that deserves a lot of praise too. Think about this. They went up against the Chiefs went up against Josh Allen and he wasn't able to touch the ball. And Josh Allen in that 13-second game forced a whole rule change in overtime. Like they forced a whole rule change.
Yeah.
The very next week, the Bengals did what the Buffalo Bills couldn't. They got to stop against Mahomes in overtime. I give that a lot of credit. And then we already know what the Bucs was able to do. I mean, Devin White, Antoine Winfield Jr. I mean, those Vita Vea, like these guys were monsters. Shaq Barrett, like they had nothing but guys on not only just the offensive side of the ball for what TB12 and Rob Gronkowski and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Leonard Fournette were able to do. They had a lot of guys on the defensive side too. That was a well-constructed team. And I think Philadelphia is of that same nature just off of their defensive prowess. Now, if they mess around and give up like 30-something points, then hey, I'll eat my words. But I have that much more confidence in what they're capable of doing. Now, granted, we've seen this recipe against Mahomes as well with the 49ers. The 49ers had a great defense both times, and they ended up getting lit up the first time, and apparently 23 points wasn't good enough the second time around. But I think, you know, sometimes we look at things in life, sometimes things are done in threes. Third time is the charm. And while that seems like blind faith, I really feel like the ability to run out, to have the time of possession with Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts utilizing their legs and relying heavily on the defense, kind of similar to the game plan of what the Texans were able to do against Kansas City. I think that's something that could lead them to victory. I mean, Joe Mixon was going through them rushing lanes just like that. He had a great game for what it's worth.
I mean, but at the end of the day, the result was still the same.
The result was the same.
So I'm saying, like, it despite like just to say that, you know, a lot of opponents that Kansas City played had decent to good rushing days on them, and they still ended up losing the game says a lot. That says that it doesn't matter if we allow you to be able to run on us, even though we was a great run stopping defense all year long. When it matters the most, we go clutch down and get that stop or two.
I think this year has some anomalies. We all have our feelings about how that game was officiated, but even with that being said, we can't give up 8 sacks and expect to win a game.
For sure.
And then against the Buffalo Bills, I don't know why the hell they didn't utilize James Cook in that fourth quarter. Like, that's malpractice on Buffalo's end. So if Philadelphia stays true to their roots, that running game is wide open for them when you have the best back in the NFL. If Joe Mixon was capable of doing it, and some people don't even look at Joe Mixon as a top 5 back. If James Cook was able to do it, and some people don't even look at him as a top 10 back, then who's to say that Saquon can't do it behind that O-line with those weapons on the outside of the field? You can't tell me that it doesn't feel like it'll be open season.
I'm not sitting here and saying that it's not. I'm sitting here saying I don't care what he does. At the end of the day, I done said so much stuff about the opposing teams and tried to prop them up and praise them and actually giving them a shot to beat Mahomes. And I've always came back to eat my words. So, like, at this point, I feel like a fool if it's a 3-peat. I'm like, I'm trying my hardest to convince myself that the other team has a realistic chance of winning this game. And yet it's still Mahomes. Despite all that, they could be having the best game. And mind you, in the Super Bowls, the teams that I brag on the most, which was obviously the 49ers and Eagles, they had relatively good games. Good days. My goodness. That was ridiculous.
I think with the Eagles, what hurt them for sure, you know, the game can be won and lost off of not just the trenches, but a lot of things can happen in terms of momentum. That fumble by Jalen Hurts hurt them a lot. And then for the 49ers, it's just like that lead just ain't big enough. You got to be able to make separation, and it doesn't help when you have your best player on the team fumbling the ball on not once, but 2 different occasions. C-Mac is all world, but you can't do that in those type of moments when your team relies on you that much. And I'm not saying that Philadelphia might mess around and win the turnover battle, but I feel like if they're able to take care of the time of possession, and if they stay true to their roots and take the same game plan of what Houston was able to do with a defense that I think we could at the very least say is comparable to, if not better than what Houston was able to provide. Against Kansas City, they got about as best of a chance as anybody. And like I said for weeks, if anyone was going to beat the Chiefs, it's going to be someone from that NFC. And I would have thought it would be Detroit, but maybe I should have looked towards that green.
Well, I think we all know that, at least for the Chiefs side, all they have to do is just hope that Patrick Mahomes wakes up that morning and then shows up to the stadium, and they're good. They don't have anything to worry about. For the Eagles, I say it comes down to two questions. Can you still use Saquon Barkley and B, if he gets shut down, can Jalen Hurts still win this game?
I just don't believe you can. I feel like if Jalen Hurts is forced to be that guy, you don't have a chance. The reason you're there is because of Saquon Barkley. It's because of Saquon. But at that, we seen Jalen Hurts perform amazing in the Super Bowl, but quite frankly, that's not their bread and butter, which is throwing the ball in the air. Despite them having one of the better receiving cores in the league, their bread and butter is time of possession on that ground.
And to add to that point, just to, provide context, that Kansas City defense and the Kansas City defense over the past 2 years is vastly different. So I will say that it will take a Herculean effort for Jalen Hurts to even get to that point. But, they have such a wealth of talent. I just can't see how they don't have the best chance out of anybody to knock off a team, even as dynastic as Kansas City. And I think I'm going to stand on that.
Hey, I respect your opinion, but at the end of the day, I done seen this movie happen too many dang times, man. And at this point, I told y'all weeks ago, the script was in. I read it. I threw it in the trash. Now I'm going to bet my money, and hopefully I can win me a fortune. I'm my man Big Jess over here, man. We're going to have to continue to keep saying it so we can spread that good luck for us. Mr. 3K winner himself, Big Jess, man.
Oh, most definitely.
Hey, if you need the picks, hit up Big Jess, man.
I'm more of an NBA specialist, and I don't know about that football stuff.
Hey, if you need the picks, Jessie got the fix. That's all I'm going to say.